Yeah, you've got it. It's the York Sports Report show. Two sellout crowds, seen two exciting games with the Hawks, but the Hawks and the Canucks are notched at one game apiece. Patrick Kane and his boys rolling into Vancouver, for Game 3 against the Vancouver Canucks. Again, one game apiece tomorrow night at the Garage. Enjoy the York Sports Report show.
Yeah, you got it. York Sports Report show. Hey everybody, I'm Jason York. Thanks for joining me on the York Sports Report show. Today we talk about the Chicago Blackhawks and their comeback last night in Game 2. I know we've missed a day here. Game 1, the Canucks dominate the Chicago Blackhawks. Forechecking, positioning, their defensive forechecking was great. They came back. The Hawks couldn't get anything over the blue line. They could never really truly get anything set up. By the way, the San Jose Sharks just took a 3-love stranglehold on the Detroit Red Wings. Maybe, possibly, this regime of the Detroit Red Wings is finally done. And I mean that in a respectful way. The Detroit Red Wings, not going to count them out completely, but they are down 3-0 against the San Jose Sharks. Bottom line, though, in Game 1, the Vancouver Canucks roll into the United Center, raucous crowd, the anthem is just blazing, the crowd's into the game, and Vancouver shut that crowd up big time. The Vancouver Canucks do defeat Chicago Blackhawks in Game 1. Again, their positioning was just fabulous. The Sedins played well. They didn't play exceptionally well, but they had a very, very good sound game behind Antti Niemi. Mason Raymond, Ryan Kessler had great games. The Sedins, they played well, but it wasn't a stunning game. And Daniel had a goal as well. But in that first few minutes, Chicago was laying it to Vancouver. And then suddenly, and Roberto came up big. Roberto came up huge for the Vancouver Canucks. That might have been the savior right there for that whole series, because the Hawks were all over Roberto Luongo in Game 1, and then around the 8-minute, 10-minute mark, then Vancouver started to find its game. But they throttled the Chicago Blackhawks 5-1 in the United Center. Patrick Kane had the comment after the game that I wasn't too pleased with, saying maybe we took these guys too lightly. I don't know if the team as a whole took the Canucks lightly, but maybe, again, in hindsight, that's a good thing. Maybe the Chicago Blackhawks needed that little ass whooping. I'm not pleased at the way the Chicago Blackhawks have played at all this playoff season. I'm not sure, again, I keep going back to that Olympic sort of hangover. The fatigue for the Chicago Blackhawks has been lingering through Keith and Seabrook and Versteeg and Bufflin. These guys just never got their legs. Now, that being said, folks, Game 2 last night in Chicago. What a game by the Chicago Blackhawks. Multiple opportunities to really annihilate the Vancouver Canucks. However, the Canucks come out, shut that crowd down right away. It's 2-0. A couple of bad penalties as far as I'm concerned on Chicago's part. But then Adam Burge, Ben Eager gave Roberto Luongo a snow job into Roberto's cage there. Dustin Bufflin, big hit on Rick Rippon. Andrew Ladd, little interference, little elbow, little sort of chest bump up against Roberto's cage once again. And Chicago never looked back. Versteeg, Patrick Sharp, Marian Hossa, Kane Tays, they all had their legs. They all had their wheels. They were all skating. And Duncan Keith, that was probably the best game that I've seen Duncan Keith skate this in the postseason this far. Brent Seabrook, 8 big hits. The Hawks dominated this game from the second period on. But again, the Vancouver Canucks, they come out. It's 2-0. And then the Hawks score with about 11 minutes left in the first period. And then after that point, Chicago just took over. A couple of local affiliate guys here in Vancouver just said it was something to watch Chicago play at that level. Chicago, when they're playing on all cylinders, they are truly one of the most special teams to watch in the league. Roberto Luongo shuts down the Chicago Blackhawks in the first game, but last night Roberto Luongo got a few more faces in front of him, got a few bodies, got a snow job from Adam Burge and Ben Eager. The Hawks came out last night like gangbusters in that second and third. They had to. Their backs were up against the wall. It would have been not impossible, but it would have been extremely tough for this young core of players to come back 2-0 against the Vancouver Canucks in coming home. Game 3 takes place tomorrow night at Wednesday, obviously Wednesday night at the Garage GM Place. Note, it's a 6:30 start. I'm looking for the Chicago Blackhawks in this game to continue with that speed. If they can bang some bodies, if they can skate the way they did the other night, I have a lot of confidence in the Chicago Blackhawks team. Again, all the media in Chicago, even in Vancouver here, the big sort of conversation still around this series is goaltending. Antti Niemi has to stand on his head. The Hawks are in for a fight. There's no doubt. The Hawks, you know, I think they walk into the NHL playoffs this year with a very, very sort of cocky swagger, sort of a underlying low demeanor on ice, though. Like, I mean, I just don't get it. They're the Hawks. They're 6-1 in their last 7 games going into the playoffs. I'm thinking, okay, now they've got a little bit of their swagger. And when they came up against Nashville showed them, hey, this isn't going to be a cakewalk. The Vancouver Canucks did it in Game 1. So last night in Game 2 with the Hawks and the Canucks, I think by far it was the best performance by the Chicago Blackhawks. So guys like Versteeg and Sharp, they have to keep skating. They have to keep creating. Adam Burge, Ben Eager, I hope they're still in the lineup for tomorrow night. I want to see some more physical play. I want to see some more intense play. But to see guys like Keith and Sharp and Duncan Keith get their legs back, I don't know what happened. I don't know what Joe Quenneville said. But at the end of the day, when you've got those 3 guys, guns a-blazing, and then you add Kane and Taves and Hossa to the mix, come on, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. And Seabrook, if he can continue to bang bodies, it should be, you know, I would lean towards Chicago. But Vancouver, on the other hand, played a very good, solid, sound game in Game 1. If they get back to that ingredient and don't let up any time whatsoever, and again, it comes down to Roberto Luongo, because in Game 1, the Chicago Blackhawks had multiple opportunities. They had 38 shots, and they had great opportunities in the first period. But anyways, we'll do a show tomorrow. I'm Jason York. Thanks for watching the York Sports Report show. Enjoy the games tomorrow night. And remember, if you're watching the games, if you're going to drink, don't drive. Take a cab, take the bus, stay on your buddy's couch. I'm Jason York. Thanks for watching again.
Let's go Chicago Blackhawks. Hawks in town right now, the night before Game 3, probably walking down Robson, having a Starbucks. There's Jonathan Toews. Toews needs to score more, though, in this series. Big Buff has to put his ass right in Roberto's face. All the pressure's on Louis now, folks. Rumor is Michael Samuelson's back is hurt. And is Alex Burrows hurt? Doesn't matter, folks. This series is getting the way we all wanted it. I'm out.